Welcome back to the Scale Forward podcast. I'm your host, Russell, and today I'm joined by Luke. Luke is a 21-year-old founder based out of Toronto who is building Fred by Control Data Inc. They are positioning themselves as a fractional data engineering and infrastructure platform that aims to make data engineering accessible for everyone. Luke, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Russ. It's great to be here.
Pleasure, mate. Excited to have a chat with you, learn more about Fred and what you're doing over there. So can you give us a quick insight, a background on who you are, how you came up with the idea, and where you're currently at today?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Luke. I'm 21, currently in my fifth year of school. I took a year off and worked at a bank this year. The way I came up with the idea is I actually got back from Vietnam, funny enough, and I realized that I was kind of bored before I was in Vietnam, and my life was so great while I was there. I was obviously on vacation, but I might have had, the ultimate Southeast Asia crash out. But so I got back, I wrote down 100 ideas. I locked myself in my room, and then I went out and pitched everyone who would listen the best 10 ideas. And actually my friend at work, one of the ideas, he was like, that one sucks. He was like, that's actually a really, really great idea. And I never told him that, but I just, took it and ran with it. And then I did a lot of research. I figured out what I would need to get going. And so I went on LinkedIn and did a sales navigator search for technical co-founders who would be open to doing something like this and who would be good at it. And so I interviewed about 50 of those people in the following week, and then found my current co-founder, Albert, who's great.
Damn, what a story. Okay, so from, I guess, sipping coconuts were you at a beach in Vietnam, or were you just stuck in the city?
No, I was a little bit of both. I was all over the place, in the mountains, maybe.
Okay, yeah, it's not too far from where I'm at, out in Thailand. So
yeah, I was in Thailand too.
Okay, well, when you come back, let's link up.
Yeah.
Ton of founders out here. So you're just sick of the mundane. Went on a gap year or holiday type thing. Came up with the idea, wrote them down, pitched a friend, and got it. Landed on this. Okay. Then what I find interesting, Luke, is you didn't start building it yourself and like vibe coding it. You went out and straight away and looked for a co-founder. What made you do that?
Yeah, I think the idea, the platform, Fred, was a really big technical challenge. I didn't really know where to start. So I'd rather be able to focus on marketing and sales, and I'm completely non-technical, so I don't know how to code at all. And when I went out asking people, okay, is this even possible, was kind of part of my question. And we pivoted a few times since then as well, but the back end infrastructure required is really, really hefty for Fred. So I didn't want to take on that challenge.
We'll get to the technical stuff and how you're doing all that in a bit. But what were you looking for in a co-founder? You interviewed dozens, right? What was your decision-making process?
It was a little bit about their experience. I think it was also, okay, who's the most confident? Like, my current co-founder came in and said, I can build your MVP in 2 months and have it done and working. And he was like, he's an early stage CTO. So he does everything from taking you from a napkin sketch to a real product. And everybody else was kind of like, oh, I've got this team, I've got access to all these people. And he was the one who was really like, okay, we'll take action right now. And I remember talking to some other people because about who I should pick. And there was a couple of people who would be like, yeah, I'll help with this, I'll help with that. I'm really connected in the community. And then it's like, okay, but that's, I don't need to be connected in the community yet. I've got a product that I need. So I might come back later to some of those people, but.
All right. So action. Can I ask what was in it for, sorry, what's his name again? Your co-founder?
Albert.
Can I ask what was in it for Albert? Was it just a crap ton of equity? Was it something fun, or did you throw cash at him?
I think when I talked to him, when I asked him this too, he's a lot older and more experienced than me. It was partly my pitching him that I realized the data is what is expensive. And so it's the process, it's like a refinery almost. And you take raw data and then the finished product is really expensive. And I think he liked that I understood that. And then he also wanted to build something great, and he really liked my idea. And then he wanted less equity than I gave him. Actually, I was like, no, I'm
Okay.
hooking you in here, pal. And so I gave him a whole bunch.
Okay, Albert. Shout out Albert. All right, that's very generous. Okay, well, let's talk about Fred. What is it exactly? Can you give us some details what it is and what it does? Who's it for?
Yeah. So Fred is a fractional data engineer. He does everything a traditional data engineer does. So that's connection, building APIs, connecting your siloed or data warehouses to a centralized warehouse. Then he transforms it. So he takes those raw data sets and makes them structured, usable. So that's documents, reports, tables. And then we also help to train models, compare models. If you need to know which ad drove the most purchases on this specific product, we can tell you. And who Fred's really for is non-technical founders, startups in AI who are, struggling to train their models with clean data. Garbage in is garbage out. E-commerce companies struggling, like every e-commerce company I talk to, their Google Analytics say one thing, their Stripe says another thing, their HubSpot says another thing. And then they just kind of have to pick whichever one is the best, right? Or that they think is the most accurate. And so what we can do is we take those, we unify them. You have one single source of truth, and you're able to ask it questions with our AI analyst, Fred, who can give you the exact numbers, the exact, what's my cost of customer acquisition? What's my lifetime value? Those are really, really important. And I think only enterprise level companies who can afford to spend $300,000 on an engineer have access to those. And so our service is, 95% less than a traditional engineer. And our time to insights, you don't have to wait 3 months. You get hooked up and it's instant. And now Google matches Stripe for the first time ever. And so the goal is really earlier to make it accessible for startups and small and medium-sized businesses who, maybe aren't data engineers themselves.
Awesome. I love that. And how difficult is it to, let's say for me, I'm a 45-year-old e-commerce shop owner or something. How difficult is it for me to integrate Fred or plug it in?
It's not difficult at all. It probably takes a day. We're trying to cut that time down, but the idea is that, my grandmother could use it.
Right.
And so it's completely no code tool. There's a human in the loop. You have a data engineer on call. You can email, Slack, text, whatever, and getting you all set up. What's an API? How do I connect these? We'll do that all for you. But if you just click the little button that says, HubSpot, it'll go over there.
Okay, great. And can you remind us how long have you been working on it for, and where are you at in terms of launch?
We have been working on it for about 2.5 months. I'd say maybe for me 3 months, but we incorporated and Albert came on board about 2 months ago exactly now.
Okay,
And
super early.
Super early. And so we've got 3 pilots set to kick off this October, rolling out, and then we're hoping to get probably 8 to 10 by the end of the year working and attached. And so, it's just right now we're now just chugging along, trying to get those pilots set up.
How did you get those first initial pilots?
It's kind of funny. I thought my LinkedIn strategy was really good of cold outbound.
Right.
But then when I looked at who my pilots were, none of them were from cold outbound. So I had an idea like the first week to start an engagement pod. And so one of the guys from the engagement pod, I converted into a pilot down the road. And then there was one guy who was commenting on my LinkedIn posts. And I kind of just did a discovery call with him. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm actually about to hire a team of data engineers to do this for me. And I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it came from reaching out to people for advice for a couple others. Like it was less, cold sales DM and more, hey, could you please help me? But I think I should use that a little bit more going forward.
Yeah.
Especially, just, hey, we need someone to run our MVP. We'll build a product for you, basically.
Yeah, I think it shows a lot of things. I think it shows you're eager. I think it shows you're willing to get better, humility, and all those sorts of stuff. I would absolutely encourage every early startup to do that. Seek feedback and like encourage criticism, basically, of what you're building, because that's how you build a really good product, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you don't know what people's problems are, right? Like that I was really worried about was solving a problem that doesn't exist. And so half the time it's the product solves a problem that doesn't exist, but then another half of the time it's your positioning is solving a problem in the wrong way. And so you can pivot the way you're positioning and your go-to-market strategy. It can completely change your company and your brand and what people think the product is, but the product doesn't have to change at all.
Yeah, or you could just do what Apple does: is build something and then sell the solution to the problem that they purposely made.
Yeah, yeah. You got to sell something. You got to have something that everyone loved first, though, right?
Yeah, did you see like the new iPhone Air? And then everyone's like battery life, and then they said, yeah, they've already got the $99 upsell for the battery pack.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
That's
classic Apple. Okay, well, you mentioned go to market, and so when do you, before we get to your strategy around all the marketing stuff, when do you expect to be live? Kind of like when's your big launch? Do you have an ETA?
it depends how we want to launch it and how many features we want to launch with, obviously. I think the pilots will be telling. So to get to a point where there's minimal handholding for the companies coming on board, that's probably, Q1 of next year, so January, February. But being at a stage where, okay, we can come in and tell you what ads are doing the best, what your ad spend and what your revenue and sales actually are. And then we train a lot of models as well. So that's what we're doing now. That we can do already. But to launch as a product that's not like you just go and download basically, I think, yeah, probably 4 to 6 months away.
We won't hold you to it. Don't worry, Luke.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that's really difficult, I think, these days is strategy around pricing and like packaging offers.
Mhm.
How are you thinking about that right now? Are you going down usage, going down seats? Where's your head at? What are you thinking?
I've actually have been struggling with this a little bit, and I've had multiple people tell me like, "How are you going to price it? Like, why would somebody give you money if you don't know how you're pricing your product?" I was like, "Yeah, that's really fair." I think we're going to do for the pilots pay per use just to kind of ensure that it's really good. So we're not charging you a fee, and then if it sucks, don't do it. It's okay, here, use it a little bit, and if you like it and it's good, which it is, it's great, use it a lot. And so that's what we're doing for the pilots. And then we do free warehousing as well. And so normally that takes a full team of data engineers to have a personal data warehouse. And so we do that for free for companies. And that's, part of our lead magnet for pricing and then just pay per compute. But I'm assuming we'll switch to a subscription model when we fully launch. That just seems the most reasonable for us.
Yeah, I think just based on my limited knowledge of your like knowledge of that space, I think as a business, when you start to get a bit more serious, you're going to have to do that. Not a bit more serious. I would say a bit more ready to onboard.
At that point, it's okay when we're a data company, and if it's still pay per use, we don't know our ARR, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
that's something I'd like to know, definitely.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So you said you've dabbled in LinkedIn. What's been the most successful channel? I know it's super early days, but I'm sure you've tested a bunch. What channels are doing well for you in terms of marketing right now?
Yeah, it's definitely LinkedIn. I think I've grown about 1,000 followers, 1,200 followers in the last month, and it got about 80,000 impressions, which is pretty good. I mean, I know some people who are getting 100,000 a post.
No, that's great. What have you been doing different?
I think it's you kind of got to play with the posts. Like the market is the medium, Marshall McLuhan, and so going and you've kind of got to play the game and do the hooks. But really, what I've noticed is that the posts that something will happen to me, and then I'll make a LinkedIn post about it. They do a lot better. I remember I posted about people in New York who are founders saying, man, you got to come to New York. It's the best place to build a startup. And then people in San Francisco going, dude, you got to come to SF. It's where you got to be to build a startup. And then me saying like, oh yeah, dude, I have $10. I can't. How are you guys finding it there? And that one did pretty good recently. I think I had like some launch posts that did well, and then everybody you know already sees it and it's like, what's this guy doing, and likes it, but then they fall off very quickly because they're uninterested in what you're actually doing. And so I think connecting with people, commenting on their post, actually meeting with and trying to, doing discovery calls with the people there, get them to engage more in your content, and just, marketing based off experience, trying to find, put your voice in the message.
Yeah, like founder-led marketing. Are you doing any day in the lives or build in public type videos? They do really well.
I know. But
I don't know if you got time though.
Yeah, those people have got a lot more exciting lives than me too. I just kind of sit in front of a laptop all day. Like they'll go to the gym and events, and it's like I'm sitting at a card table with a laptop in front of me. I've thought about those. We've got an intern marketing team, but there's 4 of them. And so they've started to make memes kind of because I don't think people love the idea of data engineering. It doesn't seem like the most interesting topic, but we're going to pivot to marketing Fred more aggressively, just as a cute little robot who fixes leaky pipelines basically. And cool. I'm assuming that'll do better.
All right. Well, you dropped something interesting. You said you got a small marketing team, but they're interns. How did that happen?
I made a few TikToks one day and then felt really bad about myself the next day, and then put up a LinkedIn job posting. And so they're volunteers, interns. Volunteers is the more correct term, but they're actually pretty good. All of them, definitely.
I got to break this down a bit more, because I don't know about the States, but in Australia, that's unheard of. Ain't nobody working for free. And so I don't know if it's just the nature of the startup game out in the States, or, there's just way more competition. And so people are willing to do that to build their resumes. Did they come to you? Did you find them? What do they do? How does the arrangement work? Like, what's the conversations look like? Can you just break it down a little bit more?
Yeah. So they would have applied to the LinkedIn post. I had some people reach out directly, but I'm all really honest. Like, hi, we don't have any money. I don't get paid. We haven't made any money. So we can't pay you. And I'm not going to ask a whole lot of them, obviously, because of that. So they might work, 5 to 10 hours a week, brainstorming, making TikToks. I didn't want to make anyone be like an SDR, right? And have to do those really, really mind-numbing repetitive tasks. Like, and every dude hears sales and goes, oh, I'd love to do that, until you figure out what it actually is. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do that at all. And so I think creating TikToks is fun, but being able to help shape a brand that's first starting, I kind of equate it to being in a school club, but you get to put it on your resume and people go, oh, that looks way better than a school club. And so they get experience, and I'll write them reference letters, and it's not a huge time commitment. And so I think that's really where it stems from. Although the job market is terrible, especially in Canada and in Toronto particularly. And so that definitely plays into it a little bit.
You got me thinking now. Maybe I should do something similar. I'd love to take people on, train them and stuff like that. That'd be fun. All right. I mean, you keep mentioning lean team, not, early days. What's the goal? Are you trying to raise?
So we might join Level Up Labs, which is kind of, they help you fundraise. They don't take any equity. You get a bunch of free stuff, kind of. And they let in about 300 people a year. And so that might help us. We have one angel investor who's committed to join the round. And then he's introducing us. Everyone tells me I don't have enough conversations to raise. My opinion on raising, though, is that you should build a really, really good company, and then the investors will come. And so the idea to me of hopping on 100 calls in a month and having to send out all those emails and research and prep is kind of ridiculous. It's like, I need clients and I need a product. And so, why would I spend all my time doing that? And so I think I'll do that first, and then what comes, comes. And I don't want to spread myself too thin.
It's like the
But
chicken
I
and the egg,
also,
though, isn't it? Which one
yeah,
came first? Because if you raised, you would have a lot more funds to do that quicker.
that's the thing. That's the thing. We've been moving pretty fast, and so I'll see what comes. Like, I think it might be naive a little bit as well. I've talked to some people who are like, it's really hard to raise. I'm like, yeah, whatever,
Yeah,
man. But
right.
I think we get a lot of the warm intros and stuff just naturally inbound from LinkedIn and doing all my networking calls and stuff. And so we could use money. Like, money would be great, don't get me wrong, but we don't need it yet. We don't need it to run our pilots.
Right.
We don't need it to run our systems. It would speed things up, and we have more time allocated to development, and we can hire an SDR and a real marketer. But you also don't want to do that too early, because I don't want to go into a conversation with no leverage and get really expensive money. And I don't want pour a bunch of money into marketing, but onboarding's not fixed, or spend a bunch of time onboarding, but the demand's not there. And so figuring out the kinks a little bit before you go and dump money into them, I think is really valuable for when we do decide to scale.
I like that. When it comes to having these conversations and getting more pilots, are you doubling down on LinkedIn outreach? And if so, what is the message that's currently working for you right now?
Yeah, definitely doubling down on LinkedIn outreach. The message, I've played with it a lot, so I'll send a connection message out to everyone first. I don't message people I'm not connected to. And that sometimes just says, hey, I'd love to connect, or like, hi, I'm building an AI infrastructure platform to help founders. You're in the same space, I'd love to connect. And then from there, I think I'm still testing between like a more, hi, please help me kind of message, and a more direct salesy message. But I think you kind of got to use what you have. Like, I'm not Oracle, right? So being super salesy doesn't help me, but being really personalized and saying, hi, we have the capacity to onboard, 5 people, where we'd like for you to help shape this product, and we think you'd be a good partner, I think works the best.
Yeah, sounds like the right approach, actually. Okay, switching gears to your day to day. How much of your day to day is do you use AI? Everybody uses AI these days. Take us through your AI stack. Like, where are you spending most of your time? Which AI tools?
I only use ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT.
Okay.
My co-founder obviously uses AIs to code, and we have our own AI called Friday that he built before this, but that's in our stack. And I just use ChatGPT. I asked it yesterday. I ask about 40 questions a day to ChatGPT. I think the biggest thing about using AI, though, is you don't actually want to get it to do anything for you yet. There's a few things it can do, but what AI for me really does is it increases the speed and clarity of my thinking. And so if I have an end goal and I want to get there faster, that might take me a day of thinking about something. But with AI, I can go boom, 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 steps. Oh, I don't like those steps. Give me more steps. And just, how do I achieve this thing? And it'll break it down for me over and over again until I get, okay, I think this will work. Let's try this. It just enables the speed of my decisions to be a lot faster than they would be otherwise. And then I also use it to analyze my sales calls. I might use it to analyze this podcast after. You go run it through, rate me out of 10. How could I have done better? What did I do well? What specifically was good? What specifically was bad? And then for sales, it really helps. It's like, oh, your positioning sucked. Oh, he said this was a mess and you didn't, jump on that and dig deeper. And so that's kind of where that really helps, just getting those reps in and getting that feedback.
That's funny that you said that. I do that after every sales call. I run it through a ChatGPT project that I set up with the book called Gap Selling. I don't know if you've heard of that. So it's basically trained on the book Gap Selling. And it's really good. You plug it in and you're like, righto, roast me, basically. And it will say,
Yeah.
prospect mentions that they're struggling with outbound. They can't quite get their messaging right, or they got and you didn't even pry further. Like what specific message are you sending? And I get the feeling like, damn it.
Yeah.
Reach back out to them. So it's a really good way to use it for sure. Okay, that's interesting. And you're only using that one. All right.
Yeah, only ChatGPT. Cool, because I pay for it and we don't have very much money. And so it's like, well, then I've got to switch and like get another one. I think that should be how my success is measured. It's like, oh, I subscribe to Perplexity and Gemini. Oh, then I forgot I had Gemini. It's like, that's how you'll know I'm really making it in the startup world.
You reminded me, I should probably unsubscribe to one of them. Subscribe to all of them. So it's a bit much. All definitely. Right. Okay, Luke, with it could be with anything, with product or marketing or just your general day-to-day running a business. What's your biggest pain in the ass right now, I would say? Like, what's your biggest bottleneck that you're trying to solve?
I think for us, it's definitely marketing, just because we're just starting. And so figuring out what works and making an easily repeatable, scalable system is really difficult. And so we had our first wave of videos come out this week, actually, on TikTok and Instagram, and they did okay. We probably got a few thousand views. I told the team this week, though, to specifically not make it about control, like just basically make memes that are somewhat related to tech, founders, startups. And they did, and some of them are really good. They're all like memes with like text over them or like a video. And so next week we're going to try humans, and then I'll have Fred come out, and I think that'll work. But you don't know until you try. And there's so many variables in why something doesn't work. And so one of them is just time, right? Like, it's not like McDonald's stopped marketing in 1950. Right? Like, I saw an I'm loving it commercial yesterday. And so you just have to do it forever and constantly change and tweak those little features.
For sure. Facts. Okay. All right. Is there anything upcoming? Do you guys have any? Well, what I was going to say is, where can people go to learn more about Fred and yourself? Is there anything upcoming that you want to give a shout out? Are you going to any events anytime soon?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I know you're not going to San Fran anytime soon, but there might have been one in your hometown.
No San Fran, no New York. We'll kind of see how it evolves. Like, I take everything as it comes, and then I go, oh, cool, that might be interesting. But you can find us at CTRLdata.io, and then my LinkedIn, Luke Hammond, and the LinkedIn of the CTRL page.
Awesome. I'll put those links down below. Before you go, Luke, I ask everybody the same question. For another young founder out there like yourself, what's one piece of advice you would like to give them?
Just do it, man. Right? Like, I've said it a lot, but you're never going to be at the level of skill that you would like to be before you do something hard. And so you just have to do it and get there. And you've got to let your ambition outweigh your experience a little bit, and just start trying to learn things.
I really like that. And I don't know, it's probably showing my age. But when you said that, I immediately thought to myself, you'll never be ready for kids. Just do it. Like, I'm just waiting for this. I'm waiting for this. So it's the same thing, kind of. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a great way to close out the show. Once again, all the links will be down below. And Luke, thanks so much for jumping on.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you too, Russell. Have a great rest of your day.
It's a pleasure. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.